All right, let's get started. Thank you very much again. And it's 10:01. Welcome to MLS Listings. And this is the Matrix Analytics class. So perhaps you have already played around with Matrix and you are getting familiar with it. So the Matrix is the tool that let's say it's our preferred tool to run searches for consumers, for clients, I'm sorry. And what we're going to learn today is about numbers, but it's not exactly a stats class, right? So I don't want you to get confused. So let me go through that. So first of all, my name again is Carlos Rodriguez. I'm a corporate trainer at MLS Listings, and that's our address right there, 740 Kaifer Road, just in case you didn't know. Well, that's where we are at physically, but right now everybody's working remotely. Here is the office phone number in case you need us for anything. You can call this number and you can talk to customer support, compliance, and somebody else that you need to speak with. Here's my cell phone number in case you ever need me in the future, Lee. And you can leave me a voicemail and I can always get back to you with an answer. And if I don't have the answer, I can always go back to my colleagues, right? C. Rodriguez at MLSListings.com is my email address. We are three traders at the MLS. Mark Messimer. Perhaps you have met Mark in person, or he appears in a lot of our videos and he shows up at the different brokerages. He's like a spokesperson of the company as well. Dave Scalora right there. He used to be in compliance. He takes care of part of the MLS and I take care of the other part of the MLS. So he's the north. I'm the central area that we cover out of the 5 counties that we manage, which are Santa Cruz, Monterey, San Benito County, Santa Clara, and San Mateo. And Mark's taking care right now, although he's the director of our department, he takes care of Monterey and Santa Cruz. And he's been doing that for a while. So that's the training team. But let's talk about the agenda for today, right? So gathering the data is only half the job. It is also critical to precisely analyze, explain, and present that data to your clients, right? So during this class or webinar, you learn how to leverage the analytic tools in Matrix. And those tools that I'm talking about, we're going to talk about Stats Tabular and Quick CMA, as well as area-specific CMAs. So this is not the CMA class, but we can talk a little bit about it. I actually taught the CMA class a couple of days ago. So if you have an opportunity, if you're looking for that and you have an opportunity, come to that class that we teach like usually once or twice a month. Hot sheets. We will definitely talk about hot sheets and specifically about the Matrix dashboard management. So that's about it. I'm going to leave that open. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. I'm going to leave it right there because we're going to have to jump back and forth to review what we're covering, right? Let me go out of there and pull that tab right at the end. So let's start from our main page. So Matrix is the tool, like I said, that most of us use. It's for searches and most of the people feel pretty comfortable using it. We have our secondary tool, Paragon. Well, nowadays we have something new that they just included, which is an addition to what we already had. We had access to the 5 counties that our MLS has, plus share data from some other MLSs. We started that about 6 years ago, sharing our data with some of those MLSs. Besides having the reciprocal access, we started sharing our data with the East Bay. So instead of having 5 counties plus 2, that's 7, right? Then we did the same with Southern California with CRMLS, California Regional MLS. And they have 4 counties over there that they cover: Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino. So that's 5 and 2 and 4, that's 11. And during the last couple of months, we had others that joined the shared data plan that we have, where we exchange our data and we put that data in our systems so that people don't have to go to that other MLS and try to figure out what system they use. And it's pretty complicated. So 4 other counties joined a few months ago, and those are Butte, Glen, Colusa, and Lake over here in Northern California. So that's already 15 counties that we can get. And then Merced, San Luis Obispo, San Diego, 18 counties. Well, That was like that up until January the 19th. The 20th, they added NorCal, which is 7 major MLSs in Northern California joined, put their data together, share it, and for us, it's going to be in Matrix. So that included 22 counties in Northern California, and that's about 55,000 agents. So we already had up to 18, correct? And 22, well, that's supposed to be 40. However, that's not really true because some of those were repeats, right? Some of those 22, we already dealt with them in the past. So let's just say briefly that we have access to 33 counties right here. We used to have Paragon as our secondary tool, and this is the Paragon for MLS listings. There is the Paragon for the East Bay, and San Diego uses Paragon as well, which is a different user interface. But it used to be regional, right? The Paragon, I used to tell people, go to Paragon if you don't find your listings right here, because, or if you're taking your clients to Stockton, Madera, Los Banos, etc., and we don't have that area of coverage. But now we do. So before we go into the numbers and all that, the analytics, so where do you find the coverage? If you are still wondering, okay, what those 33 counties that Carlos is talking about are, so go to Pro Support right at the top. This is our new portal where it's kind of like a self-service tool where if you say, I'm looking for auto emails, right, and hit enter or click on that little magnifying glass, it will tell you everything about auto emails step by step. You have the videos and so forth. So let me step back. And if you type here coverage, right, coverage right here, it will show you the coverage area maps right there. And this is what we have access to right now at this moment. As we speak, we have access to our MLS, which is the blue one, the shared data, the green one, and reciprocal access, all combined. That's 33 counties. If you go to the bottom of the page, Marin, Mendocino, Napa, Solano, Sonoma. So let's just talk about the new ones we have. And those are, for example, El Dorado, Nevada, Placer, Sacramento, San Francisco as well, right? We used to not have access to that. But if I go to Matrix now, let me put everybody on mute. If I go to Matrix and I say, show me active single family homes in not the city of San Francisco County, right? I have 255, right? El Dorado, which we didn't have access to before, 182. Placer, right? I have 260 right there. Nevada, it's Nevada County, right? Not Nevada in the state of Nevada, right? So 152 and so forth. So just play around with that. So go to the coverage, like I said before, map, figure out like what counties you have access to. These are all the counties you're going to get through Matrix right now with the addition of the NorCal Alliance. All right. So I just wanted to let you know that. And so we're ready to get it started. So oftentimes you think about like, okay, I wonder about like what properties are available in one area, but I want to know about like what is the average price or what is the maximum, what is the minimum and all that. Well, that's really easy. You can tell that if you go to Matrix, right? Click the Matrix tab right there. I want to start with that, with the stats tabular. You say to analyze an area. So this is about numbers. It's not about stats exactly, but it covers a little bit. So you say active single family homes in where are we gonna go? Let's go to 95123, which is one of my favorite areas. I always talk about that one. I lived in South San Jose for over 30 something years, so I really like it. I'm pretty familiar with it. So we have 15, right? As we speak, we only have 15 active single family homes. Not much, I mean, considering, right? We should probably have more. So out of the 15, I want to learn like, okay, what is the average price out of those 15? So pretty simple. All you need to do is go to results and don't even bother selecting anything from the left. Just go directly to the stats button. So when we have the stats class, that's a different thing. we're going to be talking exclusively about this button up here. So don't go there to the stats button. I mean, you can play around with the system, it's yours. But I'm saying not right now. We're going to go right here where it says stats at the bottom of the page. Click right there, and then you have two choices, charts and tabular. If I click charts, default is going to put me on this page, right? So I don't want to go there. I just want to, without selecting anything, I want to click stats, tabular. So it's going to present those 15 properties that I have. And this is the basic, right? Basic market statistics. And what I really care about is usually this line right here. So according to those 15 properties that are currently listed, the list price have an average of about 1,132,000, and it's taking about 24 days so far, average. Look, there is this one with 216 days, right? If you want to get something a little bit more real, you can step back and find out that one with 216 days and eliminate it. So I would go to refine and discard, and I'm going to use 14 instead out of 15. So go back to actions, stats, tabular. Now it's going to be more realistic, right? This is my low, my high on the days on the market. So it takes an average of about 10 days to, well, not to sell a property. They've been there for an average of 10 days if we consider the 14 of them. I can go back to my basics and go to stats and price, and I can see by brackets, right? One of them was listed between 700 or 800, which is kind of weird. It's unusual. We don't have those prices there anymore. Rather, we have from 900 to a million, or a million and to 1.1. So there are 3 for that price, for this between this price, 3 more between 1 to 1.2 and 2. So it's kind of like in the middle of the page. That's where you see usually the highest number, right? And so I'm going to step back. If you want to analyze not only the actives, what do? Step back, go to criteria, and add contingent, pending, and sold. And like I always say, well, let's just go with sold, right? Every time you select the word sold, you're going 20 years back in history. That's what the system is looking at. So you have to go right here where it says COE, close of escrow, and there's a little calendar. Click on the calendar, and today is the 12th. You can say, I want to step 1 month back, right? From the 12th to the 12th. So you are considering 25 sold properties. So you can go to results and do exactly the same thing without selecting anything. If you don't select anything, literally you are selecting everything, right? So go to stats, tabular, and it says you have 25. And okay, so this is the interesting part that I wanted to show you. On sold properties, if that's what you're analyzing, you see that the average price for the past month was out of the 25. This is the low, this is the high, this is the average right here. 1,098,000 with took them 8 days on the market. Remember, for the active properties, it says it's been 10 days. Well, the reality for sold properties, which is what we go by, is 8 days. So it actually takes about 8 to 10 days now to sell a property in that area. If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I want to sell my property, how long do you think it's going to take? So you have to go in there and analyze, right? How many days might take. For those sold properties, you can go and just pull the sold properties and you can tell right away. Now, the other interesting thing is this, right? This is the list price average opposite to close price. So as you can see, it closed for over 22,000, 23,000. The difference between this one and this one, it's about 22,000 or something like that. Is that correct? So that means that they're still getting more money in the area in Blossom Valley, right? The 95123. So this is the, let's say, the average asking price, and this is what they're getting, like 1% more or something like that in that area. So if there's another way to figure that out when you go to stats, I'm not going to cover that today, but there is another way to tell what is the average days on the market and how much they're getting more or less over the asking price, right? So the type of property that is selling in the area, if you are curious, It's a 4-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms built in 1972 or around that year, with about 1,600 square feet, and the lot size about that. Price per square foot is about this, right? That's considering the sold properties. Now, not only can you consider the active, like I showed you before, and you can say, okay, I want to learn about the brackets, how much they sold for, like what brackets. So 8 properties sold between this price, 6 sold between that price, and so forth. 6 more this price. So the parentheses right there will tell you how many properties sold, and in case of the actives, how many of those properties are listed for that price or in between that price range. So I'm gonna step back, and can you do more than just sold properties? If you go back to your criteria, I don't know if you learned this during the Metrics 101 or 201 or 301, never, after you enter your criteria and go to your results or your map, never hit the back button, right? Because you're going to lose your criteria. Always toggle back and forth between criteria, map, just going to show me the 25 sold properties, and results right there. Right, criteria, map, results, criteria, map, results. See how I don't lose my criteria at all. And one more thing, when you talk about solds, it's always best if you say 0-30. We have a thing called the zero logic here, and it's this. So you say from today, 0, going back so many days. So I have 23 right now. Well, it should be 25, but
I can't hear you.
Let me put you on mute. So yeah, somebody else just joined, and I'm putting everybody on mute. So you say 30 days back, or you say 60 days back, or you say 90 days back, right? So let's go back with 30 days right now, and I'm going to consider active, contingent, pending, and sold. So we have 30 days back, got it? And on sold properties only. This is for the sold properties. If I just want the actives for the last 7 days, I would say this 0-7 and so forth. So I've got 70 properties total, including those that sold during the last 30 days, right? Active, contingent, pending, and sold in Blossom Valley, which is area code 95123. I hit the results button again. I don't select anything on the side, just go directly again to the stats and tabular. And then you say, okay, I've got 14 active properties, 3 contingent, 30 pending, 23 properties that sold. Remember, we just saw the sold properties right there. So it's about 8 days. Remember, we said that, and we said there was a difference of about 20-something thousand right there. The type of property, we already saw this earlier, right? When we check the sold properties. So we can check the pending to see how close they are to the sold properties. So it's 7 days for those pending so far. Same type of property. And then we have the active. Well, compare active, contingent, pending, and sold, that you can see the overall right here. This is the overall combining active, pending, and sold on the bottom. So that's pretty much what you got. And so when you go to your map, right? Let's say you go, yeah, this is the entire area, but I want to be the expert in one little area. Maybe my area of expertise runs from Snell through Santa Teresa and down there. I don't want to see the entire thing, but so you already entered the criteria, correct? This is what you're looking at. Go to the map, then select the polygon and say, I want to analyze from here to here, going down right there. I went too far. Give me 1 second. Let me delete that, right? And let me do this again. So from here up to Snell, right here. So the polygon, put an anchor right there. Go to the freeway, to here. This is Snell. Go around Santa Teresa right there. I'm moving slowly and clicking, and then close the loop. And so I'm analyzing this area, right? So, and the reason why you do that is because many times when you say, give me all the information for the zip code, of course, prices on this side may be different to the ones over here. So I can do the same thing. Show me the stats tabular. I can see the active, the list price, the pending, and the sold. So it's pretty kind of like pretty close. I don't see the difference, right? But sometimes the difference is remarkable right there. So I'm going to delete the shape, and I'm going to go back to criteria. and I want to do a quick CMA now, right? What is a quick CMA? It's very similar to what we just did with the stats tabular, right? We call this the mini CMA or stat tabular, the one I just did. But if you want to do a CMA, a quick CMA, not a full CMA, quick CMA, you must usually start with the 4 statuses right here. I'm looking for active, contingent, pending, and sold. Exactly the same. You can say 30, 60, or 120 days back on sold properties. So you say, I'm looking for single family homes. And if you are running a quick CMA to come up with the value of a property, you say, yeah, but I just want the properties between 3 to 4 bedrooms and at least 2 bathrooms. Be more specific. Don't enter price here at all, right? You don't need that. So ignore the price, because that's what you want to come up with. And then what you would do is, if you got the address of that property, somebody came up to you and said, hey, what's the value of my house? Instead of going to Zillow, Trulia, any of those, and just checking the price there, it's not always accurate, because they use a formula based on an AVM, automated valuation model. It's an algorithm. So you need to be more specific with the data that we have in Matrix. So don't enter the price. Instead of using the zip code, I'm going to go below that where it says map search, this area, and I'm going to say within 1 mile of, and type in the address, right? 795 Valero Avenue, San Jose, California, right? It shows you the address right here. Did you mean this? So I'm going to select yes. When it goes red right here, that means the system found the address on the map, right? And it's telling me, Carlos, there are 13 matches within 1 mile of your subject property. This is my subject property, and this is the one the client came up to me saying, hey, this is my address, and I want to know what's the price of the property. So you can learn without the price of the property. You can just say the entire zip code just to analyze the area in general, like I did before. But I'm going to analyze this property, right? Within 1 mile of this address, give me active, contingent, pending, and sold. The last 30 days, the property type I'm analyzing is this, with at least 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And you may be more specific, right? Because you can say, yeah, but the property I'm analyzing, because you need to compare apples to apples, you have to say the property has 1,500 square feet. So you've got to set range right there. My range is going to be 200 up and 200 down on the construction, right? And the lot size, the lot has about 6,000, right? I'm going to go 500 up and 500 down. So it's going to be 5,500 to 6,500. If my lot size is 6,000, that's the middle, right? 500 up, 500 down on there. So then you're going to come up. In this case, I only have 2 matches, right? Including active, contingent, pending, and sold. I could at this time say, well, I want to go a little bit farther right there. 60 days back, and I still have the same thing. And I can, if I don't get enough, I could start expanding this, but I think I'm still going to have 3. Or you can jump to, we can say 2 miles within a 2-mile radius instead of 1, or jump to the map and do this, right? You can start opening it up to 1 1/4 right there, and or 1.5 if you want to, right? See, now I have more. Let me go back to my criteria. I did say active, right? Active, contingent, pending, and sold. There's really not much going on in the area. So that's all I got. So what you would do then is same thing. Once you get some actives, pendings, and solds, in this case, I didn't get any actives within that property or close. So I'm going to select all of them. In this case, you do select them, right? For the quick CMA. So you have to do it, because if you don't, it does not. See, it gives me the stats tabular button like before. It does not give me a quick CMA button. So we have CMA right here, which is the full-blown CMA. And that's the one you create when you already gave the client, like, okay, after the quick CMA, which is what we're doing right now, you came up with a price, and you went back to your client, and your client said, yes, I want to continue with the process. And you say, just hold on, we need to do a deeper analysis. So you don't tell them what it's called, right? But it's the CMA, comparative market analysis. And you do everything really digitally, right? So we're going to go and select all of them and hit the quick CMA button right here. And then you're going to get something very similar to what we just saw right there. This is my quick CMA. It's going to have my header. If you already created your header, it's going to appear right there. Or you could say, I want to print without the header when you print. So this is my quick CMA, including the pending properties around this property and the value right there. Price per square, where is that? Price per square foot is about $713. The average of those homes around this house is about the same, right? About 1472, about 1,500 square feet. And the list price average right there. But see, over here under sold, those similar properties, what they were asking for, what they got for it, right? What they were asking for, what they got for it. And same thing, what they were asking for, what they got for it. What is happening right here? They're getting more money of what they asked for, right? Right now, see, in every single case. So that means that the area is still going up little by little. And then the most important thing about the quick CMA is this. If you already determined the similar homes around the subject property within 1 mile, you can save this to your computer and send just the first page to your client and talk to them about similar properties in the area, including sold properties, and tell them there are 7 pending properties right now where the minimum is 900, the maximum is this, the median price is about this, the sale price 1 million to 1,350. This is the median price. So for your property, we're talking about probably in the middle of that, right? $1.1 million. But it's not super accurate. It's just an estimate. I mean, considering the prices are still going up, you can see that, right? See how these ones went up there. So I would probably say it's about 150, not even 1.1. We found this one like a little bit too high, but it's okay. So just spend your time analyzing the numbers, and then you can go back to your client and tell them, okay, I think we can sell it for according to this 1.1, but I think it's a little bit too high. Let's do 1,050,000 or something like that, and we're going to be okay, and we're not going to have much competition. So totally up to you. So that's the quick CMA. The recording, no, you know what? We use WebEx, and I do hit the recording button just in case. I save it usually to my, to analyze it if it's necessary in the future. But it's a really complicated system when we record it on their server. We have to go there. It doesn't appear immediately. It takes several hours for the recording to appear. We have to pull it. We have to convert it. Edit and convert, right? It takes forever, but I'll see what I can do. I'll see if there is anything I can do, Amrita, right? About that. Anyway, so let me go back to my agenda. So we already talked about stats tabular, quick CMA, and area specific CMA, right? Remember I told you about the quick CMA. And the area-specific CMA is the stats tabular, the same thing, but you just remember when I went, instead of saying I'm not gonna do the entire zip code, I'm just gonna do this little area because prices may be different. So that's the area-specific CMA. So now what I want to do is talk to you about the dashboard. So a lot of agents overlook dashboard. So I'm gonna go from here, my dashboard. This is my dashboard. So if you are on the main page, pro.mlslistings.com, you usually click here, correct? And if you haven't set up your system yet, this is where you go, right where it says, this is another class. But if you missed that, you go to where it says your name and settings and work right here under my information. There are 5 tabs that you have to complete to have the headers and the footers and your signature for the system. And going back to here, settings, you complete those 5 tabs under my information and the portal notification. So if you send emails to your, yeah, we know that Zoom, thank you, Steve. I know Zoom happens to be a lot easier, the recordings and all that, but we have not been able, we requested Zoom to our executive team, and about a year ago. We said we need a Zoom account. Then we were hit by the pandemic. We've been working remotely. They gave us a Zoom account, but it does not do exactly what we wanted to do. So yeah, we're kind of aware of that. Okay, so yeah, somebody's saying yeah that they need the recording. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna convert it. Yeah, I'm gonna convert it. I'm gonna send this to all of you, the ones that attended the class later on. So maybe tomorrow, if you allow me at least one day to record it, edit it, and I'll send it to the ones who attended the class only, right? I cannot post it to our main page because it goes through another person. You're very welcome, Rita. All right, so let's talk about the dashboard because that's the most important thing right now. And we have like 15 more minutes to talk about it. The portal notifications, what I was telling you is that we have to go right there. If you are using metrics for the first time, make sure you go right there again to settings, right? And you completed those 5 tabs, and then portal notifications. Why? Because we used to not have this in the past. It was very complicated. When you sent listings to your clients, you never knew when they opened their listings. You never knew if they liked them, if they didn't like them. But now we do. So you say, notify me via email ASAP, right? If they visit their portal, if they save a favorite, if they remove a favorite. If you do this, you're going to start receiving emails automatically. Once you send them the email and they click on the link and they open, so right away you get an email saying, hey, your client just visited the portal. And they start clicking, like liking, disliking. They send you notes. You start receiving all those notifications, all right? So that's very important. And that's the only thing I wanted to tell you about the dashboard settings. So, well, those are the settings for the system right here. So they kind of, they're hiding them, right? On their settings. They used to be more apparent in the past. But so let's go back to our dashboard. And so let's talk about this for a second. So many of you have already played around with the dashboard, but some of you say like, I don't care. I just care about searching, right? So everybody goes here and clicks the matrix button and start running searches, right? Remember that if you're looking for other types of searches, we have rentals, lot and land, multi-unit, commercial, mobile homes, etc., including public records, which is a completely different world. We have a class for the public records in Matrix because the actual public records tool that we have is Realist. So they both, Matrix and Realist, were created by the same company, CoreLogic. And for the longest time, people always came back to us saying, hey, why don't you guys put them together? We just did last year. So we combined tax records into that through public records. See, I'm going to show it to you. Looks completely different, right? It's a tax record search. You can search by owner's first name, last name, by zip code. You can say, I want only those with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and built during whatever years, and I want the single family homes and all that, right? So this is tax records, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the dashboard again. So here's my dashboard. Does your dashboard look like mine at all? Probably not, right? When you first go there, you realize, okay, Carlos showed me the dashboard, but his look different. So what happens here is that these widgets are movable, right? See that? So there are, let's say, 3 columns. This is 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns right there. And the very first thing you have to do is identify this guy called additional. So whenever you have a chance this afternoon, look for this additional field. Usually it's hiding right at the bottom of the page, right? Bring it to the top, drag it from the blue bar, bring it to the top. Then what's next? You have to take out some of the widgets that you're going to be using. I always recommend 3 of them, mainly Market Watch, Hot Sheets, and Favorite Searches. Now, why do I recommend Market Watch? Some people come up to you and say, hey, what's the market like? How many new listings do we have in Santa Clara or in your city, right? And you go, I don't know. So you're going to look bad in front of them. So what you really do is this. Okay, yeah, give me a couple of minutes and I'll get back to you, right? So what you do, you come to this page, your dashboard, you already have your Market Watch already there. And by the way, you can get rid of it. You didn't really disappear it at all. It just went into my wallet, which is this. And same thing with this one. Or you can drag and drop, right? See, they're right here. I want to pull them out again here. My hot sheets right here and my favorites. I have those three: market, hot sheets, favorites. So we're going to talk about each one of them. How do I set it up? What information is this showing me? I don't know, right? First of all, I'm into residential. So whatever, like maybe you're only into mobile homes and that's all you want to see, but most of us do residential. So I want to take a look at the last 24 hours of activity. So market watch is activity, right? 24 hours of activity where? So I want to go to customize and say single family homes. And let me just, this is my advice, right? I do only single family homes because that is the driver of the real estate industry. We never go by what's the market like based on mobile homes. So I always select single family homes, and it's just a suggestion, but you can do whatever you want to do. I say Santa Clara, start typing Santa Clara. It's going to show you the code SCC, select it. If you don't select it, you don't get the right numbers. So 1, 2, 3, save it. That's it. This is my Santa Clara. This is showing me Santa Clara. So what is happening in Santa Clara? In the last 24 hours, we had 64 new listings. See, these are those listings right there. I'm going to go back to my matrix dashboard. So I have 4 listings that had a list price increased. This one went up by 4, almost 5%, 6.25, 667, and so forth. My dashboard again, I had 2 list price decreased, right? So now the arrow is pointing down right here. This one went down by 7.6, 7.5 almost. And these are the current prices after the reduction. And you can check out the property and it's going to tell you the price used to be 1.698. Now it is the current price, right? And it tells you when they had the least price decrease right there, the report. So how do I go back to where I was at? So it's simple. Just go to the middle of the page and it'll bring you back right here, right, to the list. But to go back to the dashboard, always go to matrix dashboard and you land right back on this page. So this is Santa Clara for the last 24 hours. Not quite interesting, right? Let's check the last 3 days of activity. 173 listings, 7 list price increased, 14 list price decreased. And the last 7 days of activity, we have 20 list price increased versus 30 list price decreased. Let me tell you one thing. During the last almost 3 years, most of the people have been decreasing prices. They list their property, they wait for several days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they realize they're not selling, they decrease the price. So we usually saw this bar at the minimum right here and this one going right here. But right now something is happening. I think the prices, despite situation, the COVID situation, people are still selling a lot. Last year was fabulous. 2018, we thought that was a fantastic year. The prices went through the roof. 2019 came, it was the opposite. 2020, guess what happened? Even with the COVID situation, the market was excellent, right? It was even better than 2018. And this year is not falling behind. It's doing great. You can see that because people started increasing their prices. So this is Santa Clara for the last 7 days, right? You can see, I always look at those 2 guys right there to see what's happening. So when you see only 1 or 2 people increasing and 80 people decreasing, that's not so good for the sellers. It is for the buyers, right? But not for the sellers. Now, for the sellers, it's getting better. That means the prices are still going up. And now, if I want to check a different county, I just go there and say Santa Cruz. Let's check Santa Cruz for the last 7 days. Santa Cruz. And so I go from where we are in Santa Clara to Santa Cruz. What's happening? See, the lines are getting kind of even as well. And maybe in a couple of months, this line is going to go up here and this one is going to be right here. 36 new listings. You can check them out if you click here and everything else, right? Just remember one thing. If you pay attention to this list, we have new listings, list price increased, list price decreased, transactions fell through, listings back on the market. Just try to remember that, or if you can, take a screenshot of that, because we're going to talk about that in a few more minutes, right? So we can only do one at a time, one county at a time. We don't have a duplicate of this. I cannot duplicate it and do, this is my Santa Clara, this is my Santa Cruz. No, I always have to go back and do one at a time. The one with the color bars, we just have one widget. So customize, was my Santa Cruz, San Mateo, right? SMC and save. And now this is my San Mateo. Well, in San Mateo, though, if you pay attention, there is just one list price increased, right? 16 people decided to decrease their prices. And like 3 years ago, I remember I was looking at this list on price decreases. Some people were doing not 25%, 40 to 50% on the price change. So that was so bad, right? Right now, I'm surprised about this property, 25% below. So the property now is 798. Used to be 998. So they decreased 200,000, but it's this property right here. It's like a shack, right? In, oh, it's Portola. Well, that's why. But anyway, Carmel. So this is San Mateo, all right? Okay, I'm gonna go back to my dashboard, and now we know how this works. How would you do like something similar but for your city? You can always go back and say, I don't care about San Mateo, I don't care about Santa Clara, I just care about my city, right? So you go here and say San Jose. And this is going to be reflecting San Jose or Milpitas or whatever. Or if you go, I just care about my zip code. But I would recommend you not to. Always go to the highest level, the county level. And let me tell you why. I'm going to cancel out, right? This is my county level. Do you see that? Now, there is another widget right next to it called Hot Sheets. See it? Okay, Hot Sheets. That means activity, same as Market Watch. It's very, very, very similar, where we're going to have the same new listings, list price increase, list price decrease. That's why I told you to try to memorize that. So how do I set up a hot sheet for my city? So I'm in Santa Clara County. Let me review if I did Santa Clara. Let's go Santa Clara, right? This is my Santa Clara County for the last 7 days right here, right? With whatever number of new listings and so forth. Now I need to do Milpitas. I live in Milpitas. That's my city. I want to learn everything about Milpitas. So all you need to do is go to customize. Ignore cross property. Don't hit that one. Go directly to customize and say add right here. And there is nothing to do with this one. Just go to where it says name and type the word Milpitas, the name of the city, and hit save. Now it says you added a hot sheet, but guess what? You added just the name. You don't have anything there yet. So you need to go to edit criteria. Make sure it's selected. Click edit criteria. And remember the list I told you to memorize. Change type, new listings. I will recommend you to do any change, the first one, right? If you select price change, that's all you're gonna be monitoring. So I strongly recommend do any change. So everything, including change to pending, change to sold, rentals, expired, cancel, withdrawn, everything, right? So when you select the first one, you select everything, residential, single family home, and go to the city space right there and type Milpitas, right? And make sure you select the code and hit save. So I went around this way and now hit save, and I'm done setting up my Milpitas hot sheet, right? Now it's got some criteria included. And I click done right here. I can say, show me Milpitas during the last 24 hours. Let's start with 24 hours. So what do? Set the window to 24 hours and then click Milpitas right here. So only 5 transactions occurred in the last 24 hours. There were 3 new active properties and 2 moved to pending. And I go, well, that's not quite exciting. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see the last 3 days. And again, window, Milpitas, 7 transactions occurred, including pending and sold right there, correct? And I want to go now to the 7 days dashboard. I want to do 7 days of transactions in Milpitas. So nothing happens if you don't hit the word Milpitas, right? Now, there were 12 transactions. And by the way, I can also look at those on my map. See? These are the new active listings, the ones that went to pending, the ones that sold, etc. So how do I go back? Always go back to my matrix and dashboard right there. And now, can you go further? Can you go more than 7 days? Yes. When you go to custom right here, click custom, then click Milpitas. It gives you this kind of calendar, select the dates, click this little calendar right here. Today is the 12th, right? You can go 1 month back from the 13th to today, okay, and then you say run. Now we had 47 transactions that occurred. It organizes them by active, pending, and sold. So I can see only 25 if I want to see 47 transactions on one page. We had a couple of sold properties, sold right here. One cancellation, not withdrawn, and some of them had price changes right here. This one went up, this one went down by 15%. This is a $3.5 million house. Anyway, and you can look at those properties on the map as well, right? So going back to my dashboard, now I have my county level, my city level. I also specialize in one of the zip codes in the area, which is Blossom Valley. How do I do that? I need to create a separate one. Go to customize, to add, type in the zip code 95123, save, and now I just created my zip code, right? I could rename it because I forgot one thing. I'm going to say rename. I'm going to say single family homes, right? Because I could have one for single family homes and another one for townhouses and condos. So hit save. I'm going to hit, remember, I don't have any criteria in there yet. Edit criteria, any change, residential. If I'm dealing with condominiums and townhouses, I want to select those two, right? But in this case, I said single family homes, and I go not to the city level, to the zip code level, and I'm going to hit save. And now I can say done. And if I want to check the 7 days of activity in the zip code for single family homes, were 34 transactions. All of those are single family homes right there, right? Right there. So one of them had a list price increase. Do we have any cancellation or let's go back to that. 34 withdrawn. One of them was withdrawn, right? It's like they put that on hold for right now. So go back to the dashboard. Now I have my county level, my city level, my zip code level, and guess what? I have my farm in Willow Glen. So let's go to Willow Glen and create a little area, which is my farm, and analyze it. How do I do that? Super easy. Always go back to customize and start with add and give it a name. I want to say my Willow Glen farm, right? And save it. Now remember, it's not doing anything until I go to edit criteria, select any change, select residential, select single family home. Always the same process. But this time, instead of going to city, zip code, county, area, I'm going to go directly to the map right here. And on the map, I'm going to type here 95125, right? And locate. So guess where I'm going? To Willow Glen, right? So my farm is actually this one, from Pine, Lincoln, Kerner, right there. So how do I select that? We have the tools right here. I'm going to use the polygon. I want to go to Hicks, Pine, Lincoln, all the way down here, close the loop, and I selected my area. You can always modify it if you have to, right? Like you can, when you see that circle, you can extend it, pull it. But I'm going to say, okay, that's the area. So it went red right here. That means you selected the right area. Hit save. And hit done right here. If you want to check the last 7 days of activity in your farm, Willow Glen, we only had those transactions that occurred right there, right? Only 4. But if I go, I would like to see the entire month. There is another way to create hot sheets where you can go more than 30 days, but I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe if you have a question, I can let you know later because that might take me more time. Actually, let me just give you the hint, right? From your main page right here, actually, when you say matrix, I don't know if you paid attention to that, but when you start entering your criteria, you always say active, single family homes, number of bedrooms, price, etc. There is this area right here called hot sheets. Do you see that? So that's exactly the same thing. And with this one, you can go, instead of 30 days, I could go back 120 days, right? 0-120 on the date change. And I want to check any. So I use those two and I say in 95123. So I'm analyzing the last 120 days for properties in Blossom Valley, 95123, 393. If I change that to the last 60 days, I have 206, right? And that includes any new listings, list price decrease, list price increased, and so forth, right? So this is the other way that you can do this. Let me see. The withdrawn properties. The listing agent still has, from what I understand, they still own the contract. So the cancellations, you're probably talking about cancellations. Yes, you can contact them, but you cannot relist immediately. You have to wait 30 days before you release them on the MLS, right? Withdrawn properties, they just pause. Maybe, okay, withdrawn means I have a listing, right? I put it on the MLS for 5 days in Los Altos Hills, and all of a sudden my client calls me up and says, you know what, we're not going to be around. We have an emergency trip. We have to go to San Diego for 5 weeks. Do we need to cancel? You say no. So you withdraw the property. You kind of put it on hold. People see it. It's been withdrawn, but there's nothing they can do about it because you have the contract. So when they come back after 5 weeks, so the clock stopped ticking, right? 4 days on the market right there when you withdrew it. When they come back, you put it back on the market, and the 5 weeks are not taken into consideration. So it continues with date number 6, 7, 8, etc. So I hope that helps. So let me just finish up with this. Going back to my widget. So I already created my county level, my city level, my zip code level, my farm, and I can go 30 days back on my farm, right? I can go and say, oh, it became an old, let's do something here. Let's see if that helps. Okay. So I'm going to go 30 days back from the 12th to the 12th, or from the 13th to the 12th. And so my farm, this is what happened during the last 30 days right there. I had a couple of pending, 4 of them sold, and I have 3 active. This is my farm, so I can always go back and check it, right? I can even save it to my favorites, right? To my widget of favorites. I can say my Willow Glen. I'm almost done. Just bear with me for a few more minutes. Farm, and I'm going to say 30 days back, right? Unsold and single family homes. Enable it as a favorite on my dashboard. So whenever I want to do this, I don't have to repeat things over and over like crazy. I go to my dashboard. I can just click on that, and it's going to give me the results immediately right there. See, I set it up so I just, with a click, I get there instead of doing the same thing over and over every day or every 3 days or every 5 days. Now, the last thing I want to show you is you can set up, I have my county level, my city, my zip code, my farm. Maybe, and this is very common, people come up to us and say, I want to inspect or analyze 1 mile radius of my office or of my house. How do you do that? Super easy. Go to same thing, customize always. Say add, and you're gonna type 1 mile radius of my office, right? So you hit save. You don't have any criteria, edit criteria, any change, residential, single family home. And then where do I go? Don't go to the to map. Go to where it says within 1 mile of. Remember, we kind of saw that earlier with a quick CMA. So I'm going to say my office. This is my address, right? 795 Calero Avenue in San Jose. So select it. Now I'm getting any changes occurring within 1 mile of this address, and I want single family homes. So I'm going to click save, and I'm done. So now I've got 1 mile radius. I want to check the last 3 days, 2 days, whatever it is. 7 days, right? Within 1 mile radius of my office. These are all the transactions. This is the map. This is my address right here. 795 Calero, my office, and all that. Well, it's not real. It's a fake one, of course, right? That's not really my office, but I'm just saying. So these are all the transactions that occurred during the last 7 days around my office or my house or whatever it is. And then if you go, I wish I could see more, right? You can always go back to your dashboard and bear with me for like more minutes and we're going to be done. You can say, should have done 2 miles, right, instead of 1. So it's not helping me. You go to customize right here and you edit. So you select that one and say edit criteria, right? And then go to the bottom of the page and select miles, right? And hit save. But what's going to happen? It still says 1 mile radius here, but now it's 2. So you have to rename it and say 2 mile radius of my office or my house. Done, right? So when you say show me the last 7 days of activity within a 2 mile radius of my office, now you got 40 transactions, right? And I can view all of them. I can sort them out by price. I can do whatever I want, and I can even go to my map. And that concludes our session. Thank you very much for attending.